The Give It a Go Show!
Welcome to the Give It a Go Show, where we give things a go and talk about it. I'm Rivet.
And I'm Prince.
And today we're going to, well, this is the pilot, I guess, isn't it?
Are you asking me?
You've got to make sure these things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Thank God you told me, otherwise I would not have known.
You know, that's what I'm here for.
I like it. I like the showmanship. Very nice.
Yeah, well, welcome.
That's my
welcome
fake laugh. Do you like it?
Yes, I love it. Thank you. Hopefully we'll inspire you to try something new. We're trying some new things ourselves. That's the whole point of this show, I guess.
Yes.
I don't know, should we just get straight into it, I guess?
Yeah. What thing have you done?
I did soap making with my mother.
I love the delivery of that. It's like almost like you're ashamed. Like, I did soap making with my mother.
I did soap making.
Yeah.
I know I said to you I was going to do all the fun, exciting things, but no, I've ended up doing soap making.
You know
this
how
week.
I'm imagining this? Like, I'm visualizing you. Because I have no idea how you make soaps. And so my visualization, as you said that, was you and your mom shoving your hands into a bathtub. As if you make, like, soaps in a cauldron, like a witch. Like, that's the image I got in my head.
Oh, no, it wasn't nearly that organised. It was a mess, I have to say. It turned out alright, but the process was, oh goodness.
Oh.
I mean, you'll hear it. You'll hear it in the audio clip. So I'll run through that briefly.
Yeah.
So I ordered a soap making kit from Hobbycraft, which is just like a craft chain store here in the UK. And, well, they had two different sets. They had intro to soap making, and they had soap making.
Wow, so many.
I know, so much variety, so much to choose from. So I was looking at how much each one made, and intro to soap making made 6, regular soap making made 20. I didn't realise that. I picked up the regular soap making kit because I foolishly assumed, it might have more stuff that I need in it. It might have more variety. We'll see what's in there. I think it's the same stuff. It just makes 20 soaps instead of 6.
How are you even gonna go through all those soaps? Like, one bar of soap takes so long to get through your whole body.
Well, let me just say,
you can feed a whole family with 20 soaps.
Well, I mean, you know, the good news is everyone's birthdays and Christmases are sorted for the next 5 years. So
Don't listen to this. Don't listen to the podcast.
I spoiled it. Sorry.
You're getting soap. You're getting soap.
Yeah, you're all getting soap.
Happy birthday.
Yes, well, I'll run through how the process went. I do actually have one of the soaps I made up here with me. It's a little round soap. Well, I say round. The bottom of it's not very flat. It's a mess. Anyway, I'll run through kind of what we did. So soap making is... went through candle making or soap making with my mum. I said, what would you like to do? She said candle making, so I went for soap making.
Oh, lovely.
Naturally.
My podcast, Mom, and I decide what to make.
My podcast, Mom. Yeah, it was like, nope. We're gonna do some soap making. Well, it was mainly based on the cost and how much equipment we needed, because I wasn't entirely sure exactly as to how much we'd need for the candles, because with the kits I found, for most of them, you do need quite a lot of extra stuff. Whereas with the soap making kit, I was like, it's soap, you don't need to put anything in it. We'll see how this goes.
You also don't have to set it on fire.
Yep, and for me, that's good, because I don't trust anything I make being set on fire right now. I say right now, like there's going to be a stage in my life where one day I'm just like...
You're just like...
I can set anything on fire, it's fine.
What thing should I try for the podcast? I'll try something flammable first. That sounds like a good pilot idea.
I thought soap might be safer for well, I mean, we were dealing with hot molten wax, sort of... Well, I don't know if it's wax
now
or
you
not.
can do soap carving.
Oh, yeah, yes. Oh, yeah, I did think about that, actually, when I was doing it. I was like, imagine, like, yeah. I love those videos where, you know, people get, the satisfying ones, where people get, like, the soap and they carve off little bits, and it's like, ooh.
Yes, I love those, but for some reason, I get, like, scared when I see people carve with the knife, and I feel like they're gonna cut themselves.
Oh, yeah.
But, on the other hand, I'm like, they made this video. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't have put it up if they started bleeding all over the soap.
You never know. Well, I'd hope not, but... Yeah.
So, did you bleed all over your soap, or how did that go?
actually, if anything, my mum was much more terrifying than I, which I didn't expect my mum being the older and wiser one.
As you do.
Well, yeah.
Or don't.
So the other problem is my mum's also very similar to myself. Bless her. No, she was fantastic. So the way we did it was, I mean, we've got all the audio, but we'll just play you some of the best clips from the disaster. So anyway,
the disaster TM.
Have some panpipes or something. Panpipe music. I've got a nice bit of panpipe music.
Good.
Watch your fingers.
What were 2 hands for, Mother?
Don't be called Stumpy. I know. Tip it up.
I just did that.
Yeah, no, do it again.
Okay.
Do it with the tojo. Tip it up.
Oh god. Oh my god.
Whack it one.
Oh my god. Not with the knife.
Yes. That's what I do with frozen peas. If they're a bit too hard, I get the back of a knife and I go like that, and it crushes them more. But, yeah, magic.
Shan't be cooking with you anytime soon.
Oh, he's very slippy. Like a little eel.
Never heard soap described as an eel before.
They don't
eat
smell.
it.
No, I'm not eating it. I was sniffing it.
It's not a sugar cube.
They look like ice cubes, couldn't you? You could put one in your drink.
No, you couldn't. You could,
If
but you
there's
shouldn't
any
drink
kids
it.
listening, yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
It's
don't
not
do
a
that.
good idea. We could lather ourselves up in it.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah.
You could do that in your own home.
Well, I will be. Well, maybe. I put lemon on my armpits. Fresh lemons.
Actual lemons?
Yeah,
Oh.
they're good for. Well, I thought I
have
read
heard
they
that,
were
I
good
have
for
heard
skin
that.
tags. So I put like a fresh lemon on there, but it really stung, and it's like makes your arms itchy a bit. But yeah,
Oh, cool.
yeah. You might smell a bit lemony, but
Life hacks with Mum.
it's like yeah, it's a natural remedy.
So, well, initially, I didn't read through any of the instructions because I wanted to go in fresh. However, my husband, who is a bit smarter than me, said, I'm going to read through this and see if you need anything else, if you need me to get anything. And I said, don't tell me anything because I want to go in fresh. I want to go in virgin soap maker. So he was like, okay, so you need a glass bowl or glass measuring cup. So he got me a glass bowl. I'll get into that later. So with the kit, I got 2 soap molds, 1 square and 1 round. Although there was 2 round slots in the round soap maker. Soap
Wow,
mold,
the
yeah.
decadence.
Yeah. So it kind of got through, but melt and pour soap base, cosmetic grade fragrances, and water based dyes. So with the kit, I got Moroccan spice and lemon scents. Very exciting. Very potent. So the first step was cut up your soap into chunks. Now, this took the longest, not because I was cutting the soap up into chunks, but because I couldn't get the soap out of the box. It took a very long time. My mum couldn't get it out. I couldn't get it out. I tried to cut it up within the box to release said soap. However, this did not work.
Free the soap. Release him.
Yes, free him. We were like banging on the tub, good time. So I had this giant knife, which I did not realise was actually probably the most expensive knife we own. So I used that one. It means that we can never use it again. Apparently I heard from a professional soap maker that once you use a utensil with some soap, you will never ever get the smell out.
Oh my
or
god,
the taste.
once soaped, you cannot unsoap.
You cannot unsoap. I was using a very delightful, massive Victoria Knox knife. I used it to cut the soap up, so now we can never use it for cooking again.
Okay, so basically listen to this episode 5 times a day, and maybe River can afford a new fancy knife.
Please, start a GoFundMe.
Go
to replace... Yeah.
Unsoap my knife. Unsoap my very expensive knife, please.
Yeah, please. My husband needs it. No, we hardly even used the knife, so I was like, oh, be fine. But yeah, I didn't realise he had this knife before we even met, so, So we were trying to get the soap out of the tub, wasn't going well. Neither of us could do it. My mother took the knife and started banging on the soap tub with the handle of the knife, and I've never been more afraid in my life.
Oh my god.
She was just like, oh, it's fine, you just smack it like a bag of peas. And I was like, no, Mum, please don't do this. None of us got hurt, so that was nice. Didn't get the soap out. In the end, I found out I just had to push in the middle with my 2 thumbs, and the soap came out.
See, that's the problem right there. They assume you have thumbs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So a cat couldn't do that.
No,
What if,
no.
yeah.
So, if you were thinking of trying this with your cat, I wouldn't recommend it.
Well, I've just been
sorry.
turned off of soap.
I know, I'm sorry. You know, you and son Moses, as I call him. His name's not Moses.
His name is not Moses.
Prince's cat. It's Prince's cat, for the record.
Yes,
Yeah.
and his name is not Moses, and that's all
No,
you need to know.
it's Mozart, but I called him Moses by accident once, so now I call him son Moses. Don't ask.
It's okay, Moses was probably cooler than Mozart.
But, yeah, so we finally got the soap out, cut the soap up, we microwaved it 3 times because it was never enough.
It was never enough.
So it said
More.
microwave it for 1 minute for every 500 grams, but we did about 500 grams, but we ended up having to do it for about 3 minutes. The molten hot bowl of soap sat in my microwave. I said to my mother, wait a minute, let me get a tea towel. She pulled it out with her hands. She pulled it out with nothing protecting her hands, and she was like, oh, it's fine. So I'm convinced that my mother is more powerful than I thought. Anyway,
does your microwave just smell like soap now? Can you unsoap the microwave?
I have cooked things in the microwave since, but and they've been okay. Either that, or I've just gotten used to the taste of soap in my brownies.
Some lemon.
Yes, delightful. So we melted the soap, and then you add all your additions. We had two different scents, as I said, and 2 different dyes. We mixed both of the dyes. I was hoping it would create a delightful swirly effect, but it didn't. They just merged into one, and now it's just orange. And as for the scents, I said we have to be very gentle with them because they're very potent. So my mum poured about 10 millilitres of lemon in. I poured about 4, maybe, of the Moroccan spice. So when my husband came home later that day, he was assaulted by the scent of lemon. And we poured the soap into the moulds. It was a good time, put them in the fridge. However, we had a lot of soap left over and no moulds. So what we did was we left the soap in the bowl and we put the bowl in the fridge. So now I have a giant half dome of soap.
A giant half dome.
I don't know what to do with it. I guess I'll have to use it, but it's a lot of soap. I'll post the pictures on social media for those who are excited to hear about it.
On the gram, the Instagram.
On the gram, yeah, hit up the gram.
Hit up the gram.
Hit up the gram with my half domes.
Yeah, that's the thing, I guess, when you're making soap. The thing you don't realize is that when you make soap, you're going to have soap afterwards.
That was an unfortunate byproduct of the soap making process.
Oh, we didn't think about that.
No, I didn't think about it. So yeah, I have one here. It's incredibly potent. I don't know if I should use it on my eczema skin. I'm very prone to rashing up. I don't know if I should use this myself. I think I will maybe ask my mother to sample it first, as she's the one who pulled all the lemon in. So, however, would I do it again? Yes, I would love to do it again. It was actually quite satisfying. I think, with a few amendments to the process, now that we've done it once, I would do it again. It was quite fun. I know there are different ways that you can do it. I did ask a professional soap maker about her process, because she doesn't use the melt and pour bases like I do. Those are for soap making virgins.
Those are for the virgins, and the chads, they have a different method.
Yes, exactly. But I'll probably post more about that on social media after, once I hear back. But yeah, no, it was actually quite an interesting process. I quite enjoyed it. My mum enjoyed it. She said she'd do it again. All in all, I'd say it was actually quite successful.
Yeah, it sounds like the right amount of chaotic fun.
Oh, it was chaotic fun. You obviously have to be very careful with certain parts if you do want to try this. For example, don't pull the bowl out of the microwave with molten soap in it, with nothing protecting your hands, and maybe don't use your biggest, most expensive knife. That's the only pieces of advice I'm going to give.
That's
Also,
optional advice for you.
Yes, precisely. Also, push the soap base out with your thumbs. Don't do what I did.
Yes, exactly.
I cut the tub up very
and
badly.
don't make soap with your cats.
Don't make soap with your cats. Yeah, unfortunate, but
that's a sacrifice I'm gonna have to make.
Anyway, so that was me. What have you been up to?
Well, I looked into haikus.
Oh, interesting.
I made some haikus, but I did more like looking into the history and just the way that haikus work, I guess.
So it's a bit more of like a research.
Yes, it was a bit of a research project, and I mean, it's poetry. This will either be semi-interesting or incredibly uninteresting, and I think it's very good and smart of me to bring that amount of astounding effort to the first episode. So like when you think of haikus, like what would you say the definition of a haiku is?
I don't know that much about haikus, if I'm honest. I know that they're based on, is it like 5/8 or something?
5/7/5.
Oh, 5/7/5.
Yes, but you know about the like the syllable count, so to speak.
Yes, the syllable count.
I would say that's the layman's knowledge of haikus, right? Like,
I don't know much.
Like that's what most Westerners anyway would think of when they think of haikus. Like, oh, it's that short one with syllables or whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
So that's what I thought. I knew a little more, but I wasn't sure if that was true or not. So I wrote a haiku before I learned anything about it to see how far I would come. And,
okay, cool.
Yeah, the one I wrote was, "Poetry is hard. Please, for the love of God, help. My cat eats cat food." Which is not a haiku, that's a shit post, right?
It could be both.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that's what I wrote before I do anything. Basically, like, it's Japanese short form poetry. That's the most basic explanation. It has 17 syllables, so it's those 3 lines of 5/7/5. But it's not taught that way in Japan, apparently.
Okay.
And I am not by any means an expert on this. I looked it up. I might be butchering some of it, but I tried to specifically listen to people who are actually Japanese. So, like, some of the most well-known haikus weren't even always 5/7/5. Like, I saw some that were just 2 lines, 6/7/5, whatever. So it has that thing where, like, it has rules and requirements, but the more you know about them, the more you can break them to make art, right?
Okay.
Yeah, which is kind of what I like about that, because first I read up on, like, what is required, so to speak, like what's a real haiku, and then basically what I got was 3 things. So it's a cutting word at the end of one of the 3 phrases, and I believe it's called kireji, and then it's the 17 syllables, which is called on, and English linguists call it mora as well, because I believe like several languages are mora based, and Japanese they believe is as well. And then it has a seasonal reference, which is kigo. So that's why you see a lot of haikus and joke haikus that are like, it snows on Mount Fuji or whatever.
Yeah.
So that's the seasonal reference. But what I learned was basically like haikus evoke feelings. It's supposed to be like this little thing that feels like a bigger thing. At least that's how I felt. So I looked up a video called How You Learned Haikus Wrong, and it's by Kent Morita.
Okay.
And for the production quality in his videos, he has very few subscribers, or like less than you'd think. It's a very good video. I would recommend anyone to check it out. So in the video, he talks about the rhythm of English syllables versus Japanese mora.
Okay.
I'm basically just going to be rambling more than making jokes at this point, but I think it's interesting.
No, that's fine. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, some things, it's always interesting to learn more about the history behind some of the things that we're doing. It's not necessarily just about doing things. It's about, learning about them, why people do them. There's a reason that people get into doing these things in the first place. So,
yeah, exactly. And like learning about it in order to do it better. So I didn't write a lot of haikus, but I feel like I managed to learn enough to know more than I did before, at least. So, because that's what I thought at first when I thought, I should do haikus. And then the first thing I thought was, I probably learned wrong. That was my assumption from the get-go. Like, there's probably more to it. So, in the video that Kent Morita made, he said that standard haikus, they're basically defined by a rhythm. So the rhythm is played on like an internal 8-beat pattern. So it's basically when you read a haiku in Japanese, it can follow that rhythm. But if you read it in English, English, we stress certain words.
Yeah.
Like we stress content words.
Yes. Yeah.
So it kind of doesn't work sometimes, even if the syllables are right.
Yeah.
Because you can't pronounce it in that sort of rhythm. So English people were basically like, Mora, we have that. It's called syllables. That'll work the exact same. That's, we can do that too in the exact same way. It's like, rhythm isn't going to be the same even if the syllables match.
Yeah. Yeah. I know what you mean.
So if you like read my first haiku in the rhythm, but stress the words, it basically be like, poetry is hard. Please, for the love of God, help. My cat eats cat food.
Yeah.
So I'm stressing like cat and God and stuff like that. So when I learned that, I was like, okay, that makes sense. That makes it really hard to write an English haiku.
Yes.
But I liked that because it limited me more. When I first wrote it, I was like, there's so much. Like, what do I? How do I even start? So basically, like what he said in the video was to not count to syllables, but the stress and de-stress that English speakers like intuitively add to their speech.
Yeah.
But what I liked about the video the most was that his conclusion was like the rhythm and beats of haikus were not translated well, sure, and the guidelines conveyed to the West were different or changed, but it's okay as long as you understand the essence of what makes a haiku, the meat and potatoes of the haiku.
That makes sense. So it's more based on a rhythm as opposed to a strict sort of syllable count.
Yeah, because when I first wrote, I was like, oh, I can't do that because it's got an extra syllable.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you could, because like there was one haiku that he mentioned in the video, and I mean, I'm not gonna just say all the shit that he said in his video, but it was by an old famous poet, and it was just 2 lines. Like it didn't have the 3 lines or anything like that, but it evoked a feeling, and it was very haunting almost. So what I wanted to do was make something imbued with my own emotions, even if out of context nobody else might understand it. So the new haiku I wrote after learning all this was, shirt tie in my hands, blues and pinks and whites outside, time to carry on.
So I'm assuming that that's to do with the fact that your experience as a trans person?
Yes, because I'm sure like anyone who would just listen to this would be like, what does that mean? But when I wrote it, I felt like, yes, this feels right, you know, because it related to me. So it has to do with me being a transgender man. And it was just the first thing that came to mind. I was like, I want to write about that. And then I did. And I felt like, wow, that was not easy, but that was kind of quick satisfaction. Like I made something.
Yeah, I guess that's the interesting thing though, haikus are quite short, but there's it's about getting all of that, your intention and that emotion and everything into such a small amount of words, I guess. Yeah,
condensing it like that actually worked better because if you just write poetry, then there's almost too many possibilities. You're just like, okay, what do I write about? How do I write about it? What writing style? And all that. It's like, God.
That's the thing, I guess you have to choose the right words as well, especially considering, I mean, you said that one of the whole things about haikus is stressing certain words, and I guess that means, you have to choose the right words.
Yeah, exactly. That's
make sure they're the ones that convey what you're trying to say.
That was really interesting to me because I tried to write it in a different way at first, and then I was like, no, this doesn't sound, this doesn't flow with the rhythm, so I'll use a different word, and it definitely worked out way better.
Yeah.
And there are more videos on this that I didn't watch, but that I saw were up there.
Yeah, I mean, we can always post a link to the one that you watched as well on the social media. We can share it and, check him out, have a gander if you're interested in learning more.
Yeah, and I mean, when I say that, like, of course there are experts on the Western form of haiku. So, but I specifically wanted to know about the Japanese one, which is then why I looked up Japanese videos. But that's what I did. And honestly, at first I was like, will I do this again? I don't know. Like, I don't really write poetry anymore. But after doing it, I was like, hey, this was kind of fun. So I might do that sometime when I just want to, I don't know, ventilate something. It actually kind of was cathartic to do that.
That's really good because, it's a different way of venting. It's, you have to get it all into quite a small amount of words, so you have to choose your words quite carefully. And I guess, it gives you more time to think about it. And it sounds, there's more to it than I thought. I mean, I knew there was going to be more to it than I'd ever thought. But
that was the same for me. Like, I figured, I figured there was going to be more there, but I didn't think it was going to, like, resonate in that way. Because it made the whole haiku idea feel more playful and less strict. So I like that. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, no, that's really good to hear. I didn't actually expect you to have done a haiku or something for some reason. I kind of expected it to be something a bit more sort of crafty.
No, I didn't have time for that.
No, that's fine. I mean, yeah, that's fine. No, it was actually quite good, I think, to have something that we can get a bit of background on, and it was nice that it's a way that you found another way to express yourself through it. And I mean, I guess that's what the concept of this podcast is also all about, is like finding different ways to just new things to try, new
things to learn,
surprise yourself. Yeah, new things to learn, new things to try. You might surprise yourself. That's the whole point of it.
We don't only laugh at soap. We also make poetry and art.
Yes, we're very cultured.
Yeah. I mean, mine ended up being 575 just because it ended up working that way, but I still had to choose my words in a more careful way to match the rhythm. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah,
I like that. It kind of makes it feel a little musical too.
Good stuff. It was interesting to hear about, actually. Yes. So another part of the podcast is going to be us talking about us trying something, talking about when we've tried something in the past and how that went for us.
Yes.
I've tried to pick something fairly relevant. So I wanted to talk about, and I think you actually were present in my ears when I say that. I was talking to you.
Your ears. I was there. I was inside your ears at the time.
You're inside my ears. No, I think I was talking to you on Discord at the time. This is when I lived in my old apartment. Okay, so I'll give a bit of background on this before I talk about what I did actually. Every Thursday I would go to my now parents-in-law's house, and he just whacks on random TV very loudly. And I remember one day we were watching The Great Pottery Throwdown on BBC.
Wow! Oh my God, that sounds like some battle royale shit.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, some people might hear that and think,
are they throwing pottery at each other?
It wasn't quite that exciting. However, it was done in a way that was actually very exciting. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I got quite into it to the point where I think I zoned out everyone talking to me. So made me into a bit of a rude bitch, but that's fine. Yes, so anyway, watching The Great Pottery Throwdown, and it's always so cool. You just see these people who have spent years and years harnessing their skills. Some of them have only been doing it for like a year or two, but are very good. Some of them have been doing it for decades. It's so cool to watch. Like, watching people do pottery is more mesmerizing than you'd think. Anyway, that's my opinion.
No, it is. It's an art, right? So
it makes some incredible things. It looks very hard.
It looks nice when people do it.
Oh yes, if someone knows how to do it properly, they could. Yeah, it's beautiful. I was a bit inspired by this. I thought, this is cool. Now, I didn't do pottery because I didn't.
Very
that's all I can say. Yes, I wanted to try making something out of clay. This isn't quite pottery, but that's what inspired me to try clay. I don't know if you remember this incident, Prince.
I do remember some of it. Yeah.
I
remember some pictures.
Yes, I will post them, if I can find them, if I haven't erased it from my memory. But anyway, I wanted to make something out of clay, air drying clay, so nothing too fancy. And I said I want to make something fairly simple to start off, and so I decided, I'll make a Pokemon out of clay, because I got all the gear, the wire, clay sculpting tools, all that shit. So I decided I wanted to make Butterfree, which was my first mistake.
Which is, for those who don't know, it's basically a butterfly.
Yeah. So I said I want to make Butterfree. So I chopped up all my wire and I got it all ready, and I started rolling out the things, and I thought it's fine, it's just several ovals, and then I just have to shape the wings. That was fine. I shaped all my ovals. I attached them to the wire, but then they just fell off the next day. I did it. It all fell off. It was a mess. I'd made a mess. I was trying to shape things, you have to like dip your hands in water and stuff, and mold the clay and all that shit. So I was doing all that, and then it wasn't working out for me. So Butterfree turned into Ditto.
Yes, which is a puddle of slime.
I remember. I don't think my now husband saw me doing it.
I remember seeing a very limp-looking butterfly. Let's say that.
I think it was face down as well, because I was too scared to put it on its back because the wings were just gonna smush.
Yes, it looked very much like not what they would put in a Pokemon game, which is if
they did, I'd be quite afraid.
It looked dead.
It was it looked dead. It might as well have been dead. It was a rough time, so I reshaped it into a ditto. I painted it fluorescent pink. I poked some eye holes and a mouth in it. And I said, that's it.
See,
I sculpted
that was
a
just,
Pokemon.
that was just the good Lord teaching you that you can't just make a butterfly from scratch.
Oh, yes,
you have
yes,
to go
absolutely.
through the transformation in order to be a butterfly. You can't just
And then
skip
if
those
you can't
steps.
do that, then it just becomes a ditto.
It just becomes a pile of slime.
Yeah, it was a mess. I have to say, when I moved house, I did end up throwing it out, unfortunately. But maybe I'll give.
I can't imagine you like, oh, we gotta take the essentials, and then you see this thing, and you're just like, I gotta bring my child.
I think I try to give it to people.
You try to give it to people. Hi, do you want my butterfly /
I feel like I tried
pile?
to give it to our mutual friend Fee. Who used to come to my apartment fairly often.
I can hear
I
can hear the voice just going, no.
No, I feel like it was Fee I tried to pawn it off onto. I said, would you like this beautiful ditto sculpture that I have handcrafted with love? And Fee was like, no, thank you.
No. No.
So unfortunately, I do not have this masterpiece with me to this day. But maybe one day, Ditto will rise again.
Maybe he's still somewhere out there, you know,
In a landfill.
in a landfill, yeah,
Where
he
he
belongs.
Yeah. So that's my story. Talking of crafting, maybe I'll do it again.
So you did
Probably not.
You did some. You talked about some crafting on both of yours. Mine is very related to the one I did because I want to talk about when I used to do poetry.
Oh, okay, cool.
So there are several layers to this story. Several years of me doing different poetry and not doing poetry, but pretending I was.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
So I wrote a lot of poetry over the years, edgy, tortured teenager kind of stuff.
As you do.
Yeah, all kinds of shit. And the best part was that I wrote it in my Death Note.
Oh my god.
Which, if people don't know what that is, it's an anime about a guy who gets a notebook from a god of death, and if you write the name of someone whose face you know in the Death Note, they will die. So it was something that all the edgy teenagers were just like, oh, this is really cool. It's a good show, but I was like, oh, it's so cool. I'm writing my poetry in my Death Note, like. So cringy. But that's what I did, and I also brought it to a bunch of classes. It was like a class in school once where we had to do stream of consciousness poetry, which is basically don't stop writing. You're already laughing because you know what my stream of consciousness is like.
Well, I mean, don't ask a group of teenagers to.
I know.
Get some interesting results.
Because they said don't stop writing, just write everything that pops into your head. And most of the kids were kind of like hesitant, like they were just not constantly writing because they were like, oh, I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
Me, however, I was writing so fucking like the paper would have set on fire if I wrote any faster than I did, and it was all stupid.
Do you have any examples?
Because I don't have it with me right now, but I do remember some of it, and
good.
Because I wasn't self-aware in any capacity. When the teacher was like, okay, does anybody want to read theirs? I was always shooting my hand up like, just me, and everyone was probably like, thank God, we don't have to do it. And I remember I was writing about blue goats in the window, screaming into my face that I would push out the window, and then I would claim the window for myself and sit there like a bird.
Okay, yeah.
It was random stuff like that, and I would write it, and then I would proudly say all those words that I'd written. It could just be like, I would write about the blue goats, and I would just be like, I'm hungry, what's for dinner? And I just like keep going. But I would recite it as if it was poetry. So it'd be like, I'm hungry, what's for dinner?
Blue goats.
Goats, yes, blue goats. So I did that, and I would also write poetry of my girlfriend from before we were together, which was sweet. I would write about her, and I would read the poetry to some of my classmates who were...
Oh, to the classmates. I thought you were going to say that you read it to her.
No, I read it to like two of my classmates who were very awkwardly
romantic.
like, everybody knew I liked her. They were just kind of like, all right, just stop writing poetry and just tell her.
Oh no.
And then...
Oh goodness.
The best part of me doing poetry was the part where I did poetry night with a classmate. And we were like, we would go to a cafe and she would read her poetry to me and I would read my poetry to her, and then we would prep for poetry night, which was basically, there was a lot of slam poetry, there were a lot of showmen there, but I stole all my poems from online.
Oh no!
I stole them! I was an art thief!
Oh no!
I would never
no,
listen.
no.
I would never do this again. I was a teenager. I didn't know any better.
Like, it's so ironic now, considering that you're an artist by profession, and we're all, as artists, very adamant. Like, no, you don't steal people's art, and then
Yeah, I just Googled
it's all coming out now, isn't it?
I just Googled edgy stuff, and I just took it and I read it at poetry night, and then I got a newspaper interview.
Oh my goodness!
About my poems, right? Quote unquote. I got a newspaper interview. Someone worked for a newspaper, contacted me, and came to my town, and we sat at a cafe, and she interviewed me about my poetry. It was a lovely night at poetry night, okay? But when I went out with my freaking edgy stuff that I hadn't even written myself, oh, it's so embarrassing to think of now, but it's really funny at the same time. Like, I didn't even need to. I wrote my own poetry. I already had my own poetry, but for some reason, I just decided, nah, I'm gonna take someone else's poetry because it's better, I guess.
This is becoming Prince's confession booth.
Honestly, yeah, it feels
out.
very much like it. I mean, I did that once. I called a radio station and admitted to doing something that I'd done when I was like 6.
Oh my goodness.
This is just, everything comes up in the radio shows.
Yes, yeah, that's obviously just, where it all comes out for you, goodness.
Yeah, so I didn't
so
steal my
funny.
haikus, at least.
Yes, yeah.
I would never
gonna
do that again. But I did as a teenager. I stole all
goodness.
this. I don't even know who made them.
When you're an edgy teenager,
I mean,
you just like...
I made them, obviously.
Yeah, but when you're an edgy teenager, it's just how it... Oh god, I remember being an edgy teenager. Goodness.
You don't think of the consequences, and you don't think anyone's going to find out. It's kind of like when you have an exam or something, or when you have a paper to do, and some people just take all the information from online and slap it in there. I did that.
I feel like I did that once or twice.
I mean, if I stole poetry, then what's to stop me from stealing that stuff too? God.
I was very, very much a good boy pupil. I was always like, no, I mustn't. It wouldn't be my own way, which is kind of good, but
I cheated so many times.
I couldn't. I was like, no, I have such an awful guilty conscience. If I do, that's the thing. My husband, I can't even lie to people because they can see it right through me. It's like when we were getting a dog, and I said to my mum, I was like, no, not getting a dog. But I'd also told her that my husband had gone to the pet store to get a pet carrier. We didn't have a pet.
Oh.
And she was like, then why is he going to get a pet carrier from the pet store? And she said, you're lying to me,
Press
aren't
X
you?
to doubt, yeah.
Yeah, and I just went, yeah.
Yeah, it's for me. It's for me. I'm gonna sleep in there.
We're getting a dog.
Yeah, no, I did a lot of cheating in school, but to be fair, it was only when I'd already failed it and I was very desperate.
Yeah.
When I did that in school, it was kind of a stress-related situation. Whereas there is no excuse for me stealing poetry. I was an idiot, and don't do that.
Yes, please don't do that.
Yeah.
For all the kids out there, especially. It doesn't help you in the long run.
If there are kids listening to this, which maybe you shouldn't. We say bad words.
Say naughty words, yeah.
Yeah. Tell your parents to watch. Listen. God, I don't even know what medium we're doing.
Oh goodness, it's all come out today.
Well, yeah, it's all coming out. Well, you guys, if you don't know us already, you probably guessed that we are kind of nerds.
Oh yeah, gotcha.
So
mass raging nerds.
Did you like the segue I made?
Yes, I did notice. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I like explaining segues and jokes to make them worse.
Oh yes, yeah. Yes, no, I do like that segue. So this brings us into the media section. So when I say the media section, this is where we talk about a new or old piece of media that we've tried for the first time, a piece of media that we've had in our library for God knows how long, or a new piece of media, or something that everyone's been raving about, but we've never tried.
Yes.
So, for me, I played a game that you found out what I was playing because I didn't take it off of my Discord activity, so you worked it
Yes.
out. It wasn't very discreet. Okay, so I picked a game that my husband has been nagging me to play since I got it. I don't know why. He just, every time he's like, why don't you play this one? You've got this one in your library. And I'm like, I don't want to play it yet. I don't want to play it yet. So I was like, I'm going to do it. I'll play it. The game I picked was Alice Madness Returns. It's a game that was released in 2011 by the maker was American McGee.
Yes, it's American McGee's Alice.
Yes, so it was a follow-on from a game that I cannot remember when the first one was supposed to have been released in the 2000s.
I do not. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yes, but I was going to start with the first one. However, I can't find it anywhere. Well, I can find it on eBay if I want to buy quite an expensive disc, but I do not. Also, Alice Madness Returns is no longer on Steam. It was a bit of a nightmare to get it working because I had to log in and redeem the code via the EA account, but I got it working, so that was a good time. You've played the first and this one?
Yes. So when I got Alice Madness Returns, it was for PS3, and my copy came with the American McGee's Alice as well, so it was free and downloadable from that, and that's when I played it. But they're very similar. I don't remember much from the first game, so the first one is basically just like a prequel.
Yes, that makes sense. Because I could kind of tell from the start that some things they kind of referred to things that I assumed was in the prequel. Yeah, so I went in completely blind, so I actually really enjoyed it. I haven't finished it.
Do you want to tell them what it's about?
That might help. So it's a psychological horror game, and it's about a girl called Alice. I think it's set in like Victorian England.
Yeah.
It's about a girl called Alice Liddell who thinks that she was responsible for a fire that burned down her family home and family. And I haven't finished it yet, so I don't know the full story. But the story, when she's in Wonderland, that's kind of her escapism, from what I can tell. So it's her kind of escaping into this other world, trying to get away from it, kind of thing. Yeah, the combat is very fun. I very much enjoy the combat. The visuals are beautiful. It's a beautiful game, and it's so varied and it's very interesting. And I really like the mechanics. It's a good game. There's always something that you've missed and probably need to go back for. It's quite detailed. I'm very much enjoying it so far.
Yeah, agreed.
No.
Today, 2021, it's become pretty common to have, the version of what felt like a harmless children's story, to have a version that's like warped and more, I don't want to say edgy, but you know what I mean, right? Like this person is in an asylum in real life or something like that. Where like, Alice is actually crazy. But the thing about this game is that when it came out, it was kind of the first of its kind, at least from where I saw it. I don't know, maybe there were others, but it was kind of the staple of Alice in Wonderland in that style, before Tim Burton did it.
Yes. Yeah, I remember seeing a lot of it online, people posting fan art of it, and I think that's why I bought it initially, but for some reason I didn't play it.
Yeah, because like today, I would usually go, it's another interpretation that's edgy, but this one I still have a lot of appreciation for, just because it wasn't doing that just because it was this new popular thing to have a dark twist of something, because like the books were already dark, so it wasn't completely a childish, harmless story unless you just kind of look at the Disney one.
Yeah, it is a very good game, and it's interesting the idea of it. She's technically hallucinating. Yeah, no, it talks a lot about her guilt and grief, and you kind of go through when you pick up memories as you go through it, you slowly piece the story together.
Yeah, exactly. It's not so much about, let's make Alice in Wonderland dark. It's more like, let's help this girl who is struggling mentally.
Yes. Yeah, and, it sort of touches on themes like, the grief and the guilt that she feels, and it's a very interesting game, because at first I thought, it's just edgy Alice in Wonderland. But when I started playing it and I started to understand the plot, which, they do that quite well from the get-go.
Oh, yeah.
Beautifully done cutscenes at the start.
Yes, and the sheer difference between the real world and Wonderland as well.
Yes,
the
definitely.
colors and just everything.
That was one of the first things I noticed.
That's really what you have to do if you're going to make Alice in Wonderland, right? There needs to be a stark contrast like that, but it was very big, that contrast, which was good.
And that's the thing, and I love the contrasts within Wonderland. So, for example, you've got lots of lovely visuals in some places, like you've got the rose petals that depict her health, which it's very visually it's very nice, and especially obviously in the first world, it's very tranquil looking, but then you get these really weird looking monsters, for example, that you have to fight, and it's just it's an interesting contrast that makes you remember that this is actually like, a bit more of a psychological horror kind of game, and that this is also her dealing with these things.
Yes, because
if that makes sense.
Wonderland changes based on her mood. So sometimes it can be very beautiful, and sometimes it can be very scary, which I like.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
I believe the first game was more centered around when she was younger and when she first came to Wonderland. But the gameplay is basically the same. It's just jankier because it's not as upgraded.
Yeah, no, bottom line, it is one that I think I will finish at some point. I'd like to try and finish it. It's a very good game.
Rivet's News Corner.
Welcome to Rivet's News Corner. So, today we're going to talk about it's not really relevant to giving anything a go, but I thought it was a cool story and I want to talk about it. It's very close to my heart as a British woman. Well, not a British woman specifically, but a British person. This story is about a man who found a gigantic 7-inch long oven chip in his chip bag.
Oh.
So... That's it. That's the story. Frank Smith, who's 77, he's from York. He loves a chip. So he bought a 4-pound bag of McCain's, good old fashioned, regular old branded bag of chips. He's eaten chips at least twice a week for 6 decades, and he has said that he will keep the 7.5-inch chip for the rest of his life. Yeah, so let's talk about Frank Smith.
I want to know about this guy.
Yeah, so there's a lovely picture of him here. He's compared the size of it to his Sky Q remote.
I'm glad he didn't compare it to something else.
Oh goodness, no, just this Sky Q remote, and he's also got a picture of his tape measure held out next to it, so he's proving it. We don't want to disbelieve him. This chip is 7.5 inches long.
Are you also getting a visceral need to eat it?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Love a long chip.
Yeah. Oh god, I love a huge, just a chonker of a chip.
It is. It's a long, skinny chip.
Yeah. I want to get over there and eat it.
Yeah, well, I kind of want to eat it more now that he said he's going to keep it. I don't know why. It's just 'cause
right?
I'm like, no, you need to eat it. You can't keep that.
It's the forbidden fruit.
Yes, that's exactly how I see it.
Adam and Eve, they ate the long chip.
They ate the long chip. Yeah, exactly. The McCain's straight cut. Specifically.
Yes. And I want a piece of that.
Yes, exactly. So anyway, so I'm reading the article. I do enjoy the way that the article's worded as well. It says, he was over the moon when he pulled the prodigious potato out of a 4-pound McCain's family bag and vowed never to eat it. Frank has given his prized possession its very own compartment in the freezer. So that is an honour to have your own compartment in the freezer.
I kind of thought he would dedicate a shrine to it or something and light some incense for the chip.
Well, you don't want to defrost it though, because
true,
that's the trouble. I think he's trying to preserve it for years to come so that it may be passed down through his family as an heirloom.
Of course. Dad's chip.
Yeah.
You're old enough now, Timmy.
Yeah, is your 7.5-inch long McCain straight cut chip. I loved his quotes. There's a picture of him. He's also holding it next to his house phone. He said, "I've never had such a massive chip in all my life, and I've been eating chips as long as I can remember. I thought to myself, that's a big potato, and wanted to show it to my daughter. I just asked her around and said, look at the size of this chip." Imagine if your dad called you and said, "All right, I need you to come over," and you're like, "Oh, something wrong.
What's wrong, Dad?" Yeah.
Yeah, is he alright? And you get there and he's like, look at the size of this
Look at
chip.
this potato. Isn't it cool? And you're just like, all right, Dad, let's get you to bed.
Yeah.
You have to take your medicine, Dad.
He's just, it says that the chip was so shockingly large that Frank decided to keep it safe so he could show his daughter.
Keep it secret.
If my dad doesn't do that, then I'm sorry. Just gonna have to decide,
Dad. Where's the long boy potato that I'm getting passed down to me?
That's the thing. It's like, what's the point?
I gave you a soap.
Yeah. I gave you half a dome soap.
Yeah. Where's my chip?
That's the thing. I'm just imagine the betrayal if you found out that your dad had a 7.5-inch long straight cut McCain chip from a 4-pound bag and he didn't even show you. He just
I'd feel kind of betrayed, honestly.
I'd disown him.
Yeah.
As a Brit, I disown him.
Oh yeah, you take your potatoes very seriously.
Yes, we do. That's it.
God, imagine
this,
the original potato of that chip and making like mash out of that potato.
like, you get a lot of mash, but then you've wasted the opportunity for one chip.
You're right. What was I thinking?
You have to.
I just like
exactly.
mash.
You know what? So do I, but not that much.
Not enough to deprive us of long chip.
No, exactly. So he also, your boy Frank, he also says, I'm never going to eat it. I keep it in its own little space in the top shelf of the freezer. It's a prized possession now. I also enjoyed that it says, Frank said that he likes his chips thick and chunky, but there's nothing he hates more than crinkle cut, which I'm going to respectfully disagree with. I like crinkle cut chip.
You know, it's okay to be completely wrong. But
there is nothing wrong with a good crinkle cut chip. I cannot believe he's,
I respect his long chip,
yes.
But my boy Frank, he's entitled to his wrong opinions.
Yeah, I have to agree that, he is. So, the lifelong vegetarian likes to enjoy them with a splash of vinegar and HP sauce. He said, I eat chips every single weekend, as all Brits do. He's not special.
Oh, yeah. Some would even say that non-Brits do that sometimes.
Sometimes. He says, I'm a vegetarian, so chips are like steak for me. It's the holy grail of food.
Chips are like steak. I don't know how many similarities you would draw between steak and chips, but
Have you never eaten a chip and gone, oh, this tastes like steak?
No, because I can actually eat a chip and then eat another within 2 seconds, whereas if I ate a steak, I wouldn't eat anything at all for the next 10 days.
I don't know, maybe you're just weak. I say that.
Okay, fucking just wait till she tells her steak story.
Okay, yeah, the steak story. I'm not going to tell it today.
Yeah,
but,
that's a teaser for you.
It's a teaser, yeah, the good old steak story. Finishes the article, it says, curiously, another man from York found a similarly huge McCain chip last
Twins.
year. Out of two. It's, he said, the one chip pretty much filled me up. So he ate his chip, which I think is sacrilege.
What a barbarian.
I know.
But I guess you'd think if they had one big potato, they wouldn't just make one chip out of it.
You wouldn't think so.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, maybe he said he likes his chips chunky, so maybe it is the girth of a potato as well.
I couldn't answer that. I actually made chips this weekend as well, so it was they weren't as good. They were pretty good, but
they weren't long.
Was like, no, they weren't long. They were quite small. In fact, they were chode chips.
Oh my god.
As I will call them. Dad of two, Oliver Dale, so this is the other man who found the giant chip. There could be a rivalry going on. Well, I mean, he ate his chip, but it was crinkle cut. So
oh, I see. They're Frank the angel and the devil. I can be your angel or your devil.
Yeah, it can be your straight chip or your crinkle cut chip.
Yeah, I can keep it or I can eat it.
Exactly.
So I might have had a bit of a rough go of it. So
you said this was.
I decided to try an old N64 game because I used to have this little booklet that showed a bunch of it showed a list of games and you could see the cover of them, and I thought this one looked cool when I was a kid, but I never played it, and it's called Gex Enter the Gecko.
I feel like I've heard of this.
Yes, I feel like it's not a super unknown one from that era, but I thought it was gonna be good. And maybe I would have liked it if I played it as a kid, and then I would have the nostalgia factor. But here's the thing: so I just thought it looked cool, but I never knew anything about it. So it's basically this James Bond-like lizard with a New York accent. Like the music, the theme is literally just the 007 theme, but in a different pitch. So they want to make this cool guy lizard, I guess. So it just puts you right in the game. It's a platformer. You collect things. It's like reminiscent of Spyro, Banjo-Kazooie, Croc, but it's very rough. It's kind of trying to be those games, but it's a kid's game, and yet you fight zombies who get dismembered when you kill them.
Oh goodness. It's a different time.
Yeah, like the first level I entered was a haunted house, and there were zombies that got dismembered when I hit them. And for some reason, in like the sort of overworld, he's wearing this suit and tie, very James Bond.
I've just had a Google. Yep.
Yeah, and when he goes into levels, he takes it off, so he's naked. And so I'm going to say a little more about it, but first I need to tell you about the random shit he says when he stands around. Or actually what he says when he just runs and does things too. Like, you'll just be playing the game and he starts talking. So here are some things that he says. Don't take career advice from Joe Piscopo. Reminds me of Halloween at Rip Taylor's. Forget about it. I just want a gift shop and the bathroom. Damn IRS. This is what Tim Burton thinks about when he's in the tub.
Oh.
Man, Hef has let his place go. Well, I guess this means I can't have children. And then, lastly, a disturbing thing he says when dragging his way up cliffs with his tongue.
Oh.
Licking my way to the top.
Oh, don't. Oh, Christ. Oh.
And there's hundreds more that are just straight movie references. Like, I had to look up a list of all the things he says, and it's like hundreds of stuff that he just says and he says them like 8 times per level. Like, he will just not stop saying these things over and over. I'm pretty sure the first couple I heard once every minute in the first level, and I'm just like, please, can he stop talking? Because, like, so there doesn't appear to be any story or lore to this game, at least not as far as I went, and maybe they thought this guy would be cool and radical and tubular, but he's just running around collecting skulls and carrots while regurgitating one-liners and references. And one time,
not your ideal weekend.
Yeah, right? A Tuesday, right? One time,
just a normal Tuesday.
He also puts on a pink bunny suit and beats up hunters, so maybe they thought they could be Looney Tunes too. In fact, he makes a reference to Acme at some point.
Oh.
Let's just say that my childhood whimsy has been crushed.
It got pretty good ratings from what I can see online.
Maybe it was just,
Maybe it was seen as better back in the day, movie
I'm
references
sure.
and stuff were
I'm sure it was not running well when I was playing it. And I'm sure there are many who are like, oh, come on, Gex was my favorite game as a kid. I'm sure I would have liked it as a kid, but in 2021, when I dismember my zombies and the guy says, don't take career advice from Joe Piscopo for the umpteenth time, I kind of don't want to keep playing. It was...
Yeah, like, it was a different time, wasn't it, though?
Oh,
there's a lot of games that I have played from my childhood, honestly, and I'm probably going to get crucified for this, but games like Croc, I'm not sure if people love or hate Croc these days,
I love Croc, but I know that it's very rough to play. It's not really intuitive.
Yes. I think it was the first PC game, or the first game I ever played.
Oh.
I remember my dad bringing it home one day. I don't know, I just gave it a go, and I was addicted to it, even though I don't think I ever got through to the 3rd level when I was
It's
like
kind
5.
of hard.
It was hard, yeah. It was. I found it quite difficult. I played that as an adult, and I guess, when you compare it to games these days, I was like, oh, this is a bit janky. But back in the day, it was like that's kind of what you had, and that was the peak, and it was like, oh,
I kind of feel though like Gex had no rhyme or reason to, like, they put you in there without anything, and it's kind of ugly from the get-go, and then you just choose what level you want to play and you play it. But it's kind of like, okay, what do I do? Like, do I collect these things? It doesn't seem like I have to collect these things.
Not much direction.
Yeah, you kind of just get to the end, I guess, which it was all right to play. I think the controls were pretty janky and made it difficult. Just my biggest problem was how random it was, which I guess some people probably like, but for me, I wanted a little more structure and a little less movie references. But back then, it was, the thing that was cool was one-liners.
Oh yeah,
and the
100%.
character who was like, I'm movie savvy or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm hip with the kids.
I'm cool that I make movie references, because people are like, oh yeah, I know that one,
Exactly.
kind of thing,
It
but
was
like nowadays,
cool.
it's kind of seen as a bit cringy sometimes.
Yeah, that's the thing. I guess because a lot of the games I mentioned, they're kind of timeless.
Yes.
Whereas in this one, it was very much, okay, this isn't relevant anymore.
Yeah.
I didn't play for very long, let's just say.
Yeah, so I remember you kind of alluding to your experience with me when we were talking before.
Yeah, I had just gotten off playing it, and then I started talking to you, and I was kind of like, feel like something had been sucked out of me.
Yeah, I can see why. Maybe I'll have to give it a go at some point. Might be quite funny.
As we come to the end of this episode, we enter what is objectively the best part of it, which is I asked River to bring in a fictional character that she thinks is cool or attractive. So which character did you bring in? Why?
Okay, so I know when I mentioned this to other people, I'm pretty much they all thought I was immediately gonna pick Lady Dimitrescu from Resident Evil.
I thought that too. And for those who don't know, she is how tall is she? 9 feet?
9 foot. She's
9 feet tall
amazing.
Vampire lady with a big hat.
Yes. Yep, it's the hat. No, I picked another fine lady, though. I picked Bayonetta.
That's a good one. Bayonetta's also a tall lady, but not that tall. She just
Yeah,
wears
she's
platform heels.
She's great.
And she likes to she likes to shoot people while also performing dance yoga.
Yeah, I mean, that is the dream.
Yeah.
But then that's what makes Bayonetta unique, you know, that's what I love about her.
She's pretty good, but the one that
yeah,
I brought in
Oh no.
was the stud of studs,
Oh god.
potentially the best, the hottest character that you can come across, and his name is Wario.
You know what? I thought it was either going to be Waluigi or Wario. I don't know why. I just was like...
Listen, I'm why are we laughing? This is not funny. This is very serious. Okay, so
I'm sorry. I should be more respectful.
Wario.
I'm sorry.
For those who don't know, he's from the Mario games. He's like chunkier Mario with a mustache and a butt chin and yellow clothes, and he's got a veritable dump truck of a behind.
This is true.
So yeah, who do you think would win in a fight? Because Bayonetta's got guns.
Yeah, but Wario's lack of height, I think, could be an advantage. I'm gonna say it.
Also,
You can just run under her.
if you you can also consider the part where he plays tennis.
I haven't seen that. But...
Well, he does. He plays tennis, and I don't know if Bayonetta plays sports, but Wario plays tennis, and I think that would go a long way towards winning in a fight.
He'd have some very well-developed biceps.
Yeah, yes. He has
Yeah,
those, tennis screams when you hit the ball and you go, ah! Yeah, exactly. Like, he can get some distance on her. Even if she shoots him, he's got those reflexes from throwing down on a field all day.
He can just bat the bullets away. That's the thing. He can just bat the bullets away. He's that powerful.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
like, what can you do against that? That's the thing.
I mean,
you know, I don't even know if we need to debate this. I have to agree with you.
No, I got more shit to say about Wario.
I'm sure. I'm listening.
Because he also rides a motorcycle.
He does.
So that makes him cool. However, that means he pollutes the earth.
Doesn't Bayonetta also ride a motorcycle?
Does she also?
Or is it a car? I can't remember. I haven't played
Okay,
it
so
in a while.
they both contribute to global warming. So that's a minus. Though I do think that Wario his motorcycle, I believe it runs on his own gas.
Oh, that's
He's got
recycled gas.
He's got a kind of a big supply of his own personal gas. So maybe that's his, bio-friendly way of riding. Another thing about Wario is that he's got a great smile.
He has got a great smile.
He is. Oh, have you ever seen Wario not with a big grin on his face?
He's a very happy lad, isn't he?
Yes, he's positive.
He is. He's very positive. He's very, always feeling good, and I think we could all learn from that.
Yes, always laughing evilly, albeit laughing.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I have to agree there. But Bayonetta, sexy.
That is true. That puts her pretty high up on the scale of who would win in the fight. Is how hot she is.
Yeah. Absolutely. She's very agile.
Yeah, she could worm her way around anywhere.
Yes, she's very agile. She can walk on ceilings.
Oh, yeah. With her platform heels.
Yeah, nothing else I'd rather do in platform heels. Yeah, I think... Well, but then again, I guess it depends. How would Wario be attacking? You have to think about these things.
When you say that, would Wario be a pacifist? Because does Wario make war or does Wario make love?
This is a good point.
He wouldn't beat up a lady. He's a gentleman.
He is a gentleman. I do think Bayonetta would still try and beat the shit out of him though.
Oh yeah, she has a she has like a record for being mean to short, dumpy guys.
Yes.
It would be okay. So it might be an unfair fight, but Bayonetta would win.
I mean, it depends in what way are we winning.
True.
Because in a physical fight, yes, I'm sure Bayonetta would win. But in terms of personality,
in types of morals,
yes, Wario is up there.
Yeah.
So
So he doesn't win the fight, but he wins the war. That's why his name is Wario.
Yes, I know what Wario looks like, but I just had to do a quick search so I could, look at physical aspects.
I encourage anybody who is not as nerdy as us to look up a picture of Wario and tell us your thoughts, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Pulled up an article from the New York Post that says gamers are freaking out over Wario's lack of nipples.
That seems like a very good time to end.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
I think we've exhausted all things that we can say about Wario at this point.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening to our podcast.
Also, we want to also invite you guys to share anything that you've tried. If you want to do that, you can slide into our DMs, as the kids say, on Twitter or
tweet us.
Instagram. So we're Give It a Go Show on Twitter, Give It a Go Show Pod, I think, on Instagram, and it's also, if you want to email us, then you can get through to us on giveitagashowpod@gmail.com, and we'll talk about what you've done as well for next time. If you've got anything to say, that'd be nice. Next week I'm trying something new.
You could say that both of us are trying something new next week.
Oh wow!
Whoa,
Really?
wow. It's almost as if it's the whole premise.
Oh wow! My God! Please tune in next week wherever you get your podcasts or anything. Sorry if this one's a bit rough. It's the first one we've done. First time we've done a podcast.
Impossible. So. It can't be rough. We're gods.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You can follow us individually on Twitter as well.
Me only.
Prince
Don't follow River.
I've only got 14 followers. I've got 0 on Instagram.
Okay, everybody go follow River because...
Out pity. Please pity
everybody
follow me.
go pity River on Instagram and Twitter.
So Prince is Prince spelled PRLLNCE. I think I'm correct on Twitter.
You are correct.
Okay, wonderful. And I'm just Rivertfox on Twitter. Mostly poster art there, but I'm starting to get more vocal, unfortunately.
As you can tell.
Thank you for listening again. Now go make some memories.
Yes, go make some memories.